So, hello everyone. I hope I'm audible. And welcome to the brand new series of SQL for data management. So, I'm your trainer for this batch. I'm a trainer for this particular curriculum. So, let's jump into the SQL. Okay. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about a few things. Like what? Thing is, in this case, we are going to learn how to create a database. Okay, how to create a database and how to create a table. How to create a table. Along with that, we are going to understand how to insert some data into the table. Okay. And we'll do some sort of manipulation in the table. We are going to do some sort of manipulation into the table. So let's dive into the session. Before that, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Buddhabhushan Chakre. I'm Associate Data Scientist at AiSPRY, and I'm a trainer in 360DigiTMG. So let's dive into the session now. So whenever we are dealing with a SQL, the first step that we have to consider, which is a database. So the first thing, which is we need to create a database. But before that, we are having a few things. We are having a data definition language. Okay, where we are having a create, alter, drop, and truncate. We are having these things which comes under DDL, data definition language. And along with that, we are having a data manipulation language where we are having a update, delete, and insert. Okay. In the today's session, we are going to focus on these two things, DDL commands and DML commands. So let's create the database first. I hope I'm audible to all, right? Yeah, I hope I'm audible, right? Okay, yeah. So then let's create the database first. So I'm going to create the database. Okay, I'm going to create a database first. So here we are going to use a MySQL workbench. I'm having this application in my system. If you're having the same, then definitely you can go for the code or the query. So as of now, we are creating a database. So here, I'm just writing a command here. I'm just writing a query here, which is create database. Okay. And I'm going to assign a database name it as 360 digit MG. Okay. I am just about to create a database. Once I create a database, as you can see in the console side, we can see the name. We can see the action over here. We just created the database over here, right? So now to check that whether the database which is exists in our schemas or not, we need to check the schema section over here, right? If you see on this left side, we are having a schemas section over here where we need to check the database is actually exist or not. So as of now, I'm having the database in my system and I can see that in my schemas. Now, once we create the database, then the next step is to use the database. Once you create the database, then we need to use the database first. Use the database. Okay. We need to use the database first. So then here in this case, I'm going to use this database. Sorry. Yeah. Use database name, which in my case, my database name, which is 360DigiTMG. And whenever you write any query in the SQL, don't forget to mention the colons over here. So I just execute this line, then we are ready to use this database. Okay. So we are about to use the database now. So now I'm going to create a small table for us. So as of now, I'm interested in to create the table. So to do that, I'm going to use a command, which is create table. create table and table name. So as of now, I'm going to create a table which name it as a student, or let's take it as students. Okay. And here, in this case, I'm going to assign some names over here, some column names over here. I'm just about to create the table here, and my table name, which is nothing but students. Okay. So I'm just creating some features into the table, which is students. So now the first feature that I'm going to create, which is student ID, which is student ID. Okay. And for that, whenever you create a column in the SQL, we need to mention the data type. So in my case, I'm going to assign the data type, which it has integer. So
Sir,
I'm just,
visible, sir.
sorry,
Screen not visible, sir.
actually just check your internet once. I
Yes, sir.
hope my screen is visible to all. Anyone, can you please confirm that?
Yes,
Visible.
sir.
Yes, it's
Yes,
visible,
sir.
right?
It is freezed,
Your
sir.
voice is very low.
Okay. My voice is less. My voice is low. Just anyone please confirm that?
Oh, sorry, it's
Above
good.
you,
It's
above you
low.
will see LMS support screen. Please click on it. Then you will find screen.
Sorry.
Above in your meeting, above there are two tabs. One is meeting and another one is LMS support screen. Please click on LMS support screen. Then you can see instructors screen. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, you will see just like LMS support blank screen.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible to all. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I just create one table here, which name it as students. And the first column that I have, which is first column that I have, which is student here. And then the next column, which I'm going to create here, which is name. And in that case, I'm going to assign a data type for this, which is varchar. And here in this particular column, which is name, in that I'm going to assign a number, which is 20, so that it will accept a 20 characters, 20 numbers, 20 elements into the table, which is nothing but name. Okay. So this is the thing. And after that, I'm going to create a new column here, which is age. And for this age also, I'm going to assign the data type, which is it as integer. And now, yeah, integer. And now, as of now, I'm just closing this table now. I'm just closing this table now. Okay. And once I close, once I execute this, and if I refresh my schemas, then here in this table section, we are having a column, we are having a table, which is students. Here, if you go inside that particular student table, we are having a features name. It has a student ID, name, and age. Okay, we are having those things over here. And once you create the table, and if you just want to know the structure of the table, then we need to use a DESC and the students, which is the name of the table. Once I execute that, in the console section, you can see the structure of the table. We can see the structure of the table over here, which is of the table name it as a students. You can see here in the field section, we are having a student ID, name. Okay, student ID, name. Along with that, we are having an age over here, right? We are having all the details over here. We can see that, right? So now after creating this table, after find out the structure of the table, we need to insert some records into it. So in this case, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use a command, a query, which is insert. So I'm just going to use an insert over here. I just mentioned that insert. Yeah. Okay, actually, I already explained that, Sukanya, sorry to say this. I just created the database. For that purpose, I use a query, which is create database, and this is my name of the database, which is 360DigiTMG. I created the database and then I use a database so that I can create a table into it. So then I use a query, I use a command, which is create table and the student, which is nothing but a table. And inside that, I just use a 3 feature here, which is student ID, name, and age. And just by after that, I'm using a MySQL workbench, by the way. I'm using a MySQL workbench. Okay. Yeah. So here, I'm just, I created a table. I find out the structure. Now I'm going to insert some records into it. So in this case, I'm going to use a query, which is insert into my table name, which is nothing but students. Here, in this case, I'm having the table and the table name, which is student. So I just mentioned the name of the table, which is student. This is my table name. This is my table name, by the way. This is my table name. And after that, here, while inserting the records, we need to mention the feature names. So I'm just going to mention the feature name, which is student ID, name, and age. Okay. Student ID, name, and age over here. So the thing is here in this case, I'm just going to mention the name of the features, which is student ID. The first feature that I'm going to use, which is student ID. Okay. Yeah, student ID. And then the next one, which is name. Next one, next feature, which is age. And in this particular table, we are going to add a value. So we need to mention the function, which is values. And in this, I'm just going to enter some values over here. So the first thing, my student ID, which is 1 here, and the name of the student, let's consider Chetan. Okay. I'm just going to assign the first name, which has a Chetan, and age as a 25. Okay. Age as a 25. Sorry. Yeah, just allow me a quick second. Yeah. Okay. So I mentioned the name of my table, which is students. Okay. And I'm assigning some values into it. The first one, student ID. Okay. Second one is name of the student, which is in my case, I'm just assigning a name it as Chetan. And the next one, which is age, which is 25. And I'm just going to execute this line. Once I execute this line, you can see this line working well. So after inserting some records into this, then we need to retrieve the data first. So whenever you write or whenever you insert the data into the table, we need to retrieve the data. We need to retrieve the data first. To retrieve the data, we need to use select query. Select. So we are going to use the same here. So after inserting the records into it, I'm just going to use a query, which is select. Select all from table name. In my case, my table name, which is nothing but students. Okay. I'm just going to execute this. Once I execute this, you can see the data over here. We just retrieve the data from the table. Okay. We are having a data where we are having a feature student ID, name and age, and the first record that we got, which is for a student one, the name of the student, which is Chetan, and whose age is 25, which is 25. We just added one record into it. We can do the same. We can do the same for the multiple values, multiple records. So how to implement that? Let's see. So here in this case, again, I'm going to insert the records into the table. Insert into, which is student, my table name, by the way. And here I'm going to mention the names of the feature inside my table. Okay. Then we need to use a function which is values. And then we need to add a more records into it. More records into it. The first thing, the student ID, which is 2. And the next name, let's consider Avinash. Let's consider name it as Avinash. Okay. And age it as 26. And along with that, I'm just trying to add more values into it. More values into it. So after a comma, I need to add more elements over here. So 3. Student ID as a 3. Yeah. Yes, are you saying something? Lilavati? Okay. So I'm just trying to add a third student records into my table, which is student. Okay. So I'm going to assign the next name. It has Shraddha. Let's take a Shraddha. Okay. And along with that, I'm just going to mention an age over here. So in my case, here in this case, I just mentioned an age is it has a 24. So this is the thing. So yeah, So if I just execute this one, now we just load the data into the table. We just load the data into the table. Now again, we need to retrieve the data. To retrieve the data, we need to write a query, which is select star represent here, asterisk represent here, all. Select all from table name, which is students. I'm just retrieving the data here from a table, which is nothing but students. So once I execute this line, then it shows me all the details of my table. So I'm having a student ID as 1, 2, 3, where we are having a student name, Chetan, Avinash, Shraddha, whose age is 25, 26, and 24. So earlier, in the first case, we added one record at a time. Now we added 2 records over here. We added 2 records over here. That is the point. Okay. Now, suppose, what if I forget to write the name of the feature? Will it work? Yeah. Yes, please, Ananta. Just unmute yourself and tell me if you have any question, any query. Yeah. Are you saying something? Yes, please. Ananta, Bhagyashri, Yamini. Okay, fine.
Sir,
Yeah, yes, please.
in Oracle also
Mm-hmm.
it will work. Sir,
Yeah, you're audible to me. Yeah.
in Oracle also we can give 2 records at the same time, sir, at a time.
Yeah, we can. Okay, we can say that. There are multiple options over there to insert the data into the databases. Okay. So it's like, so the thing is, as of now, we are dealing with a SQL. There are some sort of slight changes over there. Okay. We'll consider that as of now, we are using a SQL with the MySQL workbench. Okay. But yeah, we can add it. Okay.
Sir.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So as of now, yeah. Are you saying something?
Sir, why do we need to use a single quote around the string value of Chetan?
Why we use?
Why do we need to use a single quote? The string
Acha.
around
Oh,
the
okay.
Chetan.
Chetan, right? Like this single quote in the sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can use double quote. That is also fine.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a small example here. Okay, I'm inserting a data into it. Okay, as of now, I'm inserting a data into the table, which is in my case, my table name is students, and I'm using the same features. Okay, and here in this case, I'm just going to add a values into it. Okay, so now fourth record. So I'm just adding a elements here. I'm just adding a using a double quote here. Instead of single, I'm just using a double quote. Let's consider Shweta. Okay. Yeah, just allow me a second. Yeah. Shweta. Let's consider age it as a 28. Okay. And I'm just executing this one. Okay. Yeah, you can see now, once I execute this, it will work. That nothing to worry about the codes. You can use single quote, double quote. Ultimately, we are trying to add a data into the table. That's it. Quote is not a matter for us. So you can use a double quote, single quote. It's all up to us. Okay. So we added a data. We added a new records as the fourth record, and name of the thing here as the name of the student here, which is Shweta over here. Again, if you just want to retrieve the data, then we can use a select all from students, which is my table, by the way. Okay, select all from a student. So as of now, you can see here, I'm having a Shweta, name it as a Shweta over here. Yeah. You can use both, no? It means the same, Chaitanya. Okay. You can use single, double, doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah. So we just inserted the record, select and we retrieve the data, select all from students, and we got a values over here. We got a value. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. So then as of now, we inserted the data. And now what if I don't want to mention the name of the features over here. And what if I just directly want to add values into it? Is this possible? So let's check that. So I'm just inserting a data here. I'm just inserting a data over here. So as of now, we are using a SQL workbench. Okay, we are planning to work on the same. Okay, so maybe in the next week or next month, we are providing the same to you. So don't worry about it. Okay. So as of now, just try to learn this one. Yeah. So insert into my table name, which is students. Okay. And in this, I'm just going to add the values into it. Okay. Directly, I'm inserting the values into my table, which is students. And here I'm going to add a fifth record over here. Let's take a Raj. Let's take a Raj here. Okay. Let's take a age. It has a 25. Okay. I'm just executing this line as of now. Once I execute this, yeah, it's working right now. It's working fine, right? So we just added the records into the table where I mentioned that the fifth record, which is belongs to Raj and whose age is 25. So if I just retrieve the data from my table, okay, if I retrieve the data from my table, and then at that time, you can see Raj value is reflecting in my table. So what if if I insert the records, if I miss something, okay, what if I forgot to mention the age here, and by mistake I mention a age here. So I'm just going to assign the label student ID as a 6, and instead of Shweta, I'm just going to consider it as a Swati. Okay, I'm just executing this as of now. Once I execute, it threw an error. It says that column count does not match because we only use two features here, which is student ID and name, and we are trying to add all elements like student ID as 6, Swati, and age here. But we mention only two things. Two features. That's why it's giving us an error. Yeah. Okay.
Sir, if we try
Yes.
to insert a record with the same student ID again, will it give an error?
Sorry, come again.
If we try to insert a record with the same student ID.
Okay, no, not really. As of now, in this case, it will accept that. Okay, I'll take a small example which will rectify your query. Just allow me a second. Yeah. So as of now, so we are having, right? Already we are having this records, right? We are having. Yeah. Lakshmi, just mute yourself. Yeah. Okay, fine. So as of now, I'm having this kind of records in my table. So I use a select all from students. At that time, I got this kind of records. What if I use a file number here? Okay, student ID as a file. Okay, so let me add one more elements into it, which is age here, so that it will identify in the proper way. So as of now, we already have this student ID as 5 over here, right? We are having already that, right? But what if I assign a student ID, same ID over here for a record, which is Swati? Will it work? Yes, answer of your question is yes. Okay, let me execute this line and I'll tell you the reason. Okay, because here, when I created the record, at that time, I not use any kind of keys over here. I know I forgot to use a primary key here. Whenever you use a primary key, at that time, it will not accept the duplicate records. So if you added the same ID, no, if you added the same ID at that time, it throw an error to us. But in this case, in this particular thing, in this particular table, it's not giving us any kind of error, because while creating the table, I not mention a key over here. If I mention a primary key, then it shows an error. It shows an error to us. That is the point. So as of now, it will accept this value. If I execute this line again and again, then also it shows that particular record to us. Okay. So if I execute this one, I already executed that. And now I again executed this line and I just want to retrieve the data. Then after retrieving the data, you can see here, we are having a multiple records for the Swati, right? Fifth ID over here, because we not mention a key over there. That's why. Along with that, suppose what if I insert a new record? If I insert a new record, I mention it as a the first column, it has a student ID. Student ID. I mention let's take an age here. Let's take an age here. By the way, SQL is not a case sensitive. If you write into the uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm just trying to insert the record, insert into my table, which is students, and the feature that I have, which is student ID and age. And in this case, I'm just going to add some values into it. So the next record, which is for the 6th record, I'm just adding a new name. Let's take a Gayatri. Okay. And I'm just assigning a age here. Let's take it 24. And if I execute this line, then it throw an error to us. It threw an error because we only use two features. Sorry. I forgot to mention a name here. Let me mention a name over here. If I mention name, or if I not consider the name, and if I remove the name as a Gayatri from here, will it work? Let's try that. So if I just execute this one, it will work, because while creating the table, I not mention a not null constraint over here. So that means whenever you try to pass empty records into the table, it will accept that. That is the point. So if I just retrieve the data as of now, you can see, if I scroll this a little bit down, we can see the data here without a name, which is not a proper case. So this is the thing. So we just understand how to insert the values into it, how to create that basic table. I hope this is clear to all. If you have any question, any concern, just let me know. Yeah. Any question, guys, pertaining to this particular table? Okay, fine then. So in this case, I'm just going to drop this table, which is nothing but students. I'm just going to drop this table as of now. Once I drop it, and if I try to retrieve the data from the same table after dropping the table, if I retrieve the data, then it throw an error to us. Why? Because earlier we had a table, but we just dropped that from the database. And that's why it's showing us an error. It says that table 360DigiTMG.student does not exist because we dropped that table. Okay, because we dropped that table. So now let's create one more table. I'm just about to create a table. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll explain that the difference between the truncate and drop. I'll explain that. Don't worry. In this table, I'm
Sir,
just
is
about
it
to.
deleted, sir?
Sorry.
Is it deleted from the database?
Sorry. It is like whenever we consider the truncate or drop, it almost related to a database, right? We are dealing with a database. So if each and every query which is related to the database only. So yeah. Yes, it is related to the database.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm just creating a new. Yeah. Yes, please.
Can't we get back the data?
Yes, we can. We can retrieve the data. We are having options over there. We are having some sort of queries.
I think flashback is.
Yeah, we are having a save point rollback.
Okay. Thank you,
We are
sir.
having. Yeah, we are having those things. But whenever you implement that, we need to mention those things in the clear way so that we can retrieve the data or we can roll back the data. Yeah, that is possible. Okay. So maybe in the day or two, I'll explain that also. Whenever I get it, like once I complete this part, the DDL and DML, then I'll jump into the next one. At that time, I'll explain those things. Okay. So yeah, if you have any other questions, just pertain to this particular point, just let me know.
What is mean by drop, sir?
Sorry,
Is it
what mean?
delete?
No, not really. Drop and delete are a little bit different. Like, see, the thing is, whenever you just want to drop or whenever you just want to delete only one record or only few records.
Okay.
Yeah, then we use a delete. But if you want to drop the entire thing, like entire table, then we can use a drop function. You can use this query, which is drop, to drop the database also. That is the thing. So the thing is, if you just want to delete a particular record from the table, then use a delete. But if you want to drop the entire table, then use this one. Okay, that is the small difference. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, no worries. So then let's create a table with a not null constraint as of now. Let's create a table with a not null constraint. So I'm just going to create the same table as like same name of a table, which is create. I'm just about to create a table, create table, name it as a students. Okay. Here in this case, yeah. Are you saying something? Anusha? Okay. So I'm just going to create a table. Table name is students. And here I'm going to assign some columns over here. So create, I'm just, sorry. Yeah. I'm just going to mention the name. I'm just going to mention the column names here. So the first column that I have, which is student ID. Student ID. I'm going to assign the data type it as an integer, and I'm going to use a not null constraint. Okay. And then student name. And for student name supposed to be a string, right? So for that, I'm just going to use a varchar. And in this case, I'm just going to mention a varchar as 20. So it will accept 20 elements for the student name. And here I'm going to mention a constraint which is not null. Okay, I'm just going to mention the constraint which is not null. And after that, I'm going to mention a new feature, new column. It has age and the data type, which is integer, because we can say integer, right? Like age as a 26, 24, right? So yeah. So the thing is, after assigning this, okay, integer, I'll assigning a not null constraint so that it will not accept a null values for a same null values for a age feature. So I'm just trying to complete this. Yeah, I'm just creating the data table here. Okay. Yeah, Leelavati, any question, any concern?
So for not allowing duplicates, sir.
Not really. It will still allow a duplicate.
Okay. Sir.
Yeah. The thing is, no. Earlier, I added the records, right? Earlier, I added a record where I inserted the records into the student table where I mentioned the student ID, age.
With
I not
empty.
mentioned the name, right? But I still
Yes, sir.
accept that. I
Yes,
don't
sir.
want to happen this one. So that's why I use this constraint, which is not null.
Okay.
Okay. So that whenever someone by mistake forgot to mention the name or student ID or age, at that time it throw an error. So that is the use of that. Okay, so I just created the table now. And now to see the structure of the table, whenever we just want to see the structure of the table, we need to use a query, a command, which is DESC or describe. You can use out of like you can use a DESC or describe. It's all up to you. So in my case, I'm just using a DESC and the table name, which is students. So once I execute that, see here, it shows the structure to us. In that, we are having a field in the sense like we're having a column name. It has a student ID, student name, age. Data type, it has integer, varchar, integer, and it will not accept null values. Not accept null values. As of now, we not assign any key over here. That's why it's not showing this to us. So this is the thing. So as of now, I not mention any kind of key over here. So that's why this particular thing that you're seeing as of now, which is empty in nature. So now, after seeing the description of the table, I'm just going to insert the records into it. So insert into my table name, which is students. Okay. And in that student table, I'm just going to insert some values. So my feature names are student ID, student name, and age. I need to use same over here. Yes, Sai, any doubt?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. So I'm just trying to insert a record into the table, which is students. In that, I need to mention the column names. So I just mention student underscore ID over here. Okay. Then student underscore name here, std underscore name here, and age over here, so that I can assign the values over here. Okay, I'm just going to assign the values. So the first value, let's take a name it as a site. Okay. Sorry. And age it has a 22 or 25. Let's take a 25. Okay. I'm going to assign more values into it. So the next one, which is second record, I'm just going to mention a name it as a Kiran, and age it as a 26, and semicolon. And once I write this, then if I execute this one, as of now, it will accept the record. It says that it accepts the records, no duplicate, two values, and warning as a 0. Now to retrieve the data, we need to use a query which is select all from table, which is students. Sorry. All from students, which will help us to retrieve the data. From the table. So now, once I execute this, it gives us the records to us. Select all from the students. We are having this thing, right? We just retrieve the data. We find out that we are having two students, Sai and Kiran. Yeah, Sai and.
Sir,
It's
add
not
some data for that.
Sorry,
Add some data, sir.
you have
Add
some.
add change, sir. అక్కడ data ni.
Sorry, I'm not able to get you what you're trying to say. Yeah. Okay.
You have to add some data.
He's
Another
asking
name.
add empty, sir. Empty, sir.
I already added, no? I
Empty,
inserted
sir.
the data. I retrieve the data
Empty.
and I'm about to add more data into it. Okay.
Sir, we want to check empty, sir. What will to
Yeah.
perform like
Yeah.
empty?
Okay. I'll about to explain. Just give me a minute. I'll explain that what happens once we add empty records into it. Okay. Just allow me a minute. Okay. Yeah. So yes, Sukanya, your answer of your question is it's not a case sensitive, right? It's not a case sensitive. Doesn't matter if you write a sign, a lowercase or uppercase, doesn't matter. It's not a case sensitive. SQL is not case sensitive. Just remember that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. So then I'm just going to add some records into it. So here, earlier, while creating the table, I use a not null constraint, right? I use a not null constraint so that it will not accept the empty values. So now in this case, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to insert a record into it, insert into table name, which is students, and I'm just going to add some values into it. Okay, so let's assume that I forgot to mention an age over here. Okay, and I'm just going to insert some values over here. The student ID, which let's take a student ID, it has a 3, and let's take a name, it has a Raj. And I'm just going to close this one. So once I execute this query, it threw an error to us because here we not mention one column, which is age. So it will not accept the empty values in this particular table. It will not accept the empty value in this particular table. That is the thing. Suppose if you just use the same, okay. Now let's take a small example here. If I forgot to mention a student name, let's assume that I forgot to mention a name of a student and I'm just randomly using student ID. Let's take a student ID as a 3. And once I execute that, at that time, it also said the same thing. It threw an error to us because we use a not null constraint. Whenever we use a not null constraint, it will not accept the empty values. That is the. So I hope this point is clear to all. Yeah. Clear? Any question, any concern pertaining to this? Just let me know.
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay, Nivedita. Okay, fine. So the thing is, as of now, I'm having this table, right? I'm having this table, and if I just retrieve the data, okay, we are having this data. So what if I just interested to add a records like this? So let me add one more records. Okay, I'm just adding one more records here, insert into my table, which is students. Okay, where I mention a student ID, student name, age, and values are 1. Okay, student ID as a 1, name it as student name it as Sai, and age is 25. And once I execute that, after execution of this, you can see it's accept the value. And if you retrieve the value from the table, okay, then it gives us the duplicate records. You can see here we are having a same student ID as a 1, student name it as Sai, age is it as a 25, and same the second record, which is duplicate in nature. As of now, we are having a table where we are having duplicate records, which is not useful for us. It will create a data redundancy, which is not desirable. The data of yours supposed to be a unique in way. So as of now, you can see here, we are having a duplicate records. So the thing is, name of the students can be a same, right? One name like Sai as a name can be the name of the multiple students, but the like student ID is supposed to be unique, right? The student ID that we have 1 and 1, which is the same for the entire two records, these two records, this ID is supposed to be unique. How to implement that? So in that case, suppose if you don't want to implement, or if you don't want a duplicate record, we need to use a keys over there. So we are having a primary key. Let's dive into the primary key, how we are going to apply a primary key. Let's jump into the primary key as of now. So here, so I'm just going to drop this table. In my case, my table, which is, okay, in my case, I'm having this table. So I'm just dropping this table, drop table, which is nothing but students. Okay, I'm just dropping this table as of now. Once I drop it, and after dropping that table, if you're trying to retrieve the data, then it throw an error. It says that the table that you're trying to use for retrieving the data, which is not exist, right? From 360DigiTMG database, student table doesn't exist. We can see that. So now, to avoid the data redundancy, we need to use a keys. We have to use a key. So I'm going to use one key over here, which is primary key, which is primary key. So let's dive into the primary key. Yes, we can use unique constraint. Yes. So answer of your question is yes, Chaitanya, we can use that. Okay. Not really. So this video will be available, right? So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's dive into the next part. So I'm just going to create the same table. Here. So let's create a new table here. With the same name. I already dropped that table. If I refresh my schemas from the left side, okay. Here, as of now, if you go to the table section, there is a empty table. There is no table over there. So as of now, I'm just going to create a table over here. So for that, I'm just going to use a create table. Okay, create table. My table name is students. I'm going to create the same table, students. In that case, let's take a student ID. Okay, student ID, the first column that I have pertaining to this table. I just want that table. In that table, I want a student ID as the first column, and it's supposed to be an integer. And I'm going to use a primary key over here. After that, here, I'm going to use the next column. Let's take a student name. Okay. Data type, it has a varchar. So whenever you mention the name of the features, don't forget to mention the data type. So this is the data type. If you're having a string data like a categorical data, then just use this one, varchar. We can use char, we can use varchar, so on and so forth. Okay. So I'm just using a data type, it has a varchar, so that it will accept the values. Okay. String values. So I'm just going to mention a name, the data type as a varchar 20, so that it will accept the 20 elements as the name of the students. So here I'm going to mention a constraint which has a not null. And after that, I'm just going to mention a new feature, which is age, and data type of age is an integer and not null. Okay. Sorry. Just allow me a second here. I'm just going to execute this line as of now. So I'm just executing this table. Once I execute this one, if you go to this part, which is schemas, if you refresh it, we are having a tables, right? Where we are having a student table. Okay, where we are having a student table. If you want to know more about it, what we can do, we are having this icon here. We are having a spanner icon. If you click on a spanner icon, you can see here, we are having a table, right? We are having a table over here where we are having a feature, student ID, student name and age. We can assign, you can see here, we are having a data types over here. We are having a data types. Along with that, for these three features, student ID, student name and age, we assign a not null constraint. And we assign a primary key for only one feature, which is student ID. That is the point. So yeah. So if you want to change the name, no, just double click on this and just update your name. Then it will update the name as per your requirement. Okay. So then the next thing is, okay, I just created the data, created the table to see the structure. Just let me ask you one question, right? So I just created the question, I just created the table here, and I just want to see the structure. And my table name is student. So which kind of query that I'm supposed to write here so that it will help me to find out the structure of the table? Come on, mention that in the chat. Yeah. Everyone, please mention that in the chat. Come on.
Describe table name, sir.
Art is
Perfect.
visible.
Yeah. Sorry, come again.
Art is
DESC
visible.
Describe
students
table name.
That's correct.
table.
Yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely correct. So you can use describe or you can use DESC. Yeah, that's correct. Chaitanya, that's correct. Ajay, yeah, that's absolutely correct. So to see the structure of the table, we need to use a describe or DESC. So now I'm just going to use, sorry, instead of DESC, I'm going to use a describe. Both perform the same thing, which will help us to find out the structure of the table. So in this case, I just want to see the structure of the table. So I use a DES. You can use a DESC or a describe. Both perform the same thing, same kind of operation. Just mute yourself, Gopi. Yeah. So once I execute this one, you can see it shows the structure. Earlier, primary key was not present in the earlier table, but as of now, in this particular table, we are having a primary key. We are having a primary key over here. We are having a primary key. So whenever you consider the primary key, few things that we need to understand. It will not allow a duplicate value. Just mute yourself, please. Yeah. So it will not allow a duplicate value, not allow a not null constraint. Means, sorry, the thing is, it will not allow empty values. It will not allow null values. Okay. And in one table, we have to consider only one primary key. There is an only one primary key in a table. We can only use one primary key in a table. Okay. Duplicate values are not allowed once we apply the primary key. Once we apply the primary key. So we assign a primary key here, right, for a student ID. Okay. So let's insert some records into it. So in this case, I'm just going to insert a record, insert into my table name, which is students. Just mute yourself, guys. Okay, yeah. Just allow me a quick second. No, not really. Yes, we can say that, but we need to use DSC in a different way. We'll discuss that later. Okay. Banush. Okay. Yeah. Bhavna. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So I'm just going to insert some records here in this particular table. So I mentioned a query which has a insert into table name, which is in my case, my table name is students. And then I need to mention the feature names. So I'm just going to mention feature name it as a student ID. Okay. Next feature it as a student name. Okay. And the next feature it has a age. And I'm going to add some values into it. So the first thing is we need to mention the student ID. We need to mention the student ID first. So I'm just going to mention the student ID. Okay. Yeah. So we mentioned a student ID over here. The first student ID, which is like one is the student ID for this particular record. So I'm just going to mention a name of student. It has Ajay. Let's take an age. It has a 25. So I'm just going to execute this one. Once I execute that, it will accept the values. Okay. And now again, if I just want to retrieve the data from this particular table, which is students, sorry, then you can see it shows the records to us. Okay. What if I again try to insert the same record into the table? Will it work? So let's check that. So I'm just going to execute this one, this line, and at that time it throw an error. It says that duplicate entries of a key student not allowed because we assign a student ID as a primary key. As a primary key. And earlier we already have this one, right? So for Ajay, we already have student ID as one. So and we are trying to add the same again. So that's why it's throwing an error to us. So once we apply the primary key, and if you are trying to add a duplicate records into the table, it will not work. When we apply a primary key in the table. So primary key will not accept a duplicate value. Yes, Ananta Bhagyashree Yamini.
Sir, how can we modify the existing table structure after it is created? Like
Yeah,
adding
okay.
a new column
Yeah,
or
don't worry.
changing the data type.
I'm just about to explain that. Okay. So once I complete the basic introductory part of creating the table, inserting the values into it, then we'll change it. We'll change the name of the table. We'll change the name of the columns. We'll change the data types of the tables, data types of the columns. We are going to discuss that. So as of now, once I finish this, and definitely I'll cover those points also in the same session. So just wait for a while.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So as of now, you can see when I try to add a duplicate records into the table, at that time it throw an error to me. That is the point. So what if I just want to add if I just forget to mention a student ID? Let's take if I forget to mention a student ID. My mistake, I forgot to mention that. Let's assume that. Okay. Assume that I forgot to mention a student ID. And I'm not going to mention this one. Okay. So now if I execute this line, at that time, it threw an errors. The first thing that we need to understand, which is whenever you apply a primary key into the table, and if you are trying to add a records without that name of the feature at that time, it throw an error to us. Yes, Jayashri? Any question, any concern?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you raise your
Sir,
hand. So yeah.
Sir, I mentioned student ID as primary key, but in when I describe it, it does not showing in output, sir. That means key is primary key. It's not showing student ID as primary key, sir. What to do, sir?
Just is this possible to share your screen and show that to me so that I can help you and guide you properly?
Yeah, 1 minute,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, I'm just stopping my screen. Just share it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, the screen is visible to me.
Is it okay, sir?
Yeah. Okay. You are using a Oracle, no? We are dealing with a MySQL,
Yeah, sir.
right? So that
So
is
what
the
to do,
point.
sir?
Okay, let
Sir,
me.
as I'm
Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you one thing. As of now, we are using a SQL, right? So MySQL. Okay.
yes, sir.
So there are some sort of different changes are there. If you are using workbench, no, then definitely it will work well. So in some cases, there are different things are there based on the same, right? So that's why you are using Oracle, no? That's why you are not able to see these things. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Sir,
Okay. Yeah. Yes, please.
sir, can you explain how to set up this workbench?
Okay. Okay. Fine. I'll explain that to you. Just allow me a minute. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. I thought. Okay. Fine. So, how many of you are having this MySQL workbench in your system? Okay.
We don't have, sir. Will you please send that link?
Okay. Fine. So I'm just sharing this one. So just allow me a second. So just allow me a quick second. So the thing is, if you search for a MySQL workbench, okay, and here in the download section, once you go to the download section, if you go to the MySQL community for GPL, then MySQL installer for Windows, I'm just sharing this link with you guys, okay, and just download this one, the next, the second one. Once you click on the second one, which is 353.7 MB, then you can easily download that and you can work on the same. Yeah. Okay, I'm just about to share this link with you. Okay. I'm just sharing this link with you. Who are not having this in your system, kindly download that. Okay. So let's dive into the code now. Let's dive into the query now. So we are having this one. Okay. So yeah, I already shared a link with you in the chat. Kindly check it and install it if you're not having that. Okay, fine. So then let's discuss into the next question. Let's discuss about the next point now. So the thing is, so we discussed few things. So we created a table without any constraint. We added some records into it. After that, we use a not null constraint. Then we use a primary key. So now, is this possible to drop a database? So yes. So how to drop it? So in that case, we need to use drop database name, which is 360DigiTMG. So whenever you want to drop it, just you can drop it by just mentioning this. Okay, I just dropped the database. So now, after dropping the database, this in the schema section, there is a no database, name it as 360DigiTMG. We are not having any database over here. Now what we are going to do? So now, whenever you just want to consider the data, we need to use a database. So the first thing, to create a database, we need to use a query like create a database and a database name. So I'm just creating the database, new database as a 360DigiTMG. After executing that, and if I refresh my schemas, you can see on the left side, I'm having this database as a 360DigiTMG. After that, so we understand that how to add the records into it. So let's see the few additional things over here. Let's discuss about a few additional things. So once you create the database, then we need to use the database first to create the table into it. So I'm just going to use this database. In my case, my database name is 360DigiTMG. Once I execute that, we are ready to use this database. We are ready to use this database. We are ready to use this database. This is my database. Now, let's take us one example over here. So here in this case, I'm just going to create a database. I'm just going to create a few things. Okay, I'm just going to create a what we can say table over here. So I'm just creating a new table. Let's take an example. So I'm just creating a table, name it as an employee. So I'm creating a table, name it as an employee. So to consider that, we need to use create table. I need to use a query, which is like create a table and a table name. So in my case, I'm just using a table name it as an employee. In that, I'm just going to insert some records. I'm going to insert some records. So the first feature that I want here, which is employee ID. Employee ID. And for this employee ID, I'm just going to assign the data type it as an integer. Data type it as the integer. Without deleting, just use the same record, no? Insert the same into the table. That's it, execute it. Okay, okay, Ishwar? Yeah. So I'm just going to create a column over here. So I want a column like what? So I'm just creating a table name as employee, where I want a table elements like employee ID, employee name, age, just allow me a second. Yeah. Age, then salary and location. Salary and location. So then how to implement this kind of table? So I want this kind of table here. So where I'm having employee ID, employee name, age, salary, and location. So I just mentioned the first column it has an employee ID. Second column it has a employee name, because name is a categorical data. So we need to use a data type it has a varchar. So I mentioned a 20 so that it will accept 20 elements into the table. 20 elements into the table. Okay. Then a next feature, I want it as age. Data type that I'm going to assign it as integer. Then next feature, it has a salary. And for this, I'm just going to use a float data type. Float data type and location. As we can see, location is a categorical data. Then we need to mention a data type it as a varchar and data a value which is 20, so that it will accept the 20 elements as a location, 20 alphabets as a location. Then we need to close this table. Once I close this table, and we already know that to see the structure, we need to use a describe or DESC and the name of the table. So in my case, my table name, which is nothing but employees, employee and semicolon. Once I execute that, you can see it shows the structure of the table where I'm having total 5 features into it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I'm just going to add some records into it. So we know that insert into, right? We need to mention insert into table name, which is employee. Okay. And here I'm having a feature. So whichever the feature that you have, that we have, we need to mention that employee ID, employee name, emp underscore name, then age and salary along with the location. And here I need to add some values into it. So the thing is the first record. So I want this kind of records into my table. Employee ID as 1, 2, 3. I want 3 records over here. The first name as Ajay, age 23, salary 50,000. Location, let's consider Hyderabad. Ajay. Second record as a Vijay. This is 23. This is 24. Salary as 60,000. Location as Chennai. Third record, Sumit. Age 27. Salary 70,000. Let's salary 70,000. Let's take a location it as a Pune. So I'm just going to use this table, this thing. So I'm just about to create this this kind of table. So I need some values into it. So I just mentioned an employee ID as a 1 here. Then name it as Ajay. age it has a 23, salary it has a 50,000. Okay. And location as a Hyderabad. This is the first record that I want in my table. And the second record, which is ID of employee, which is second, and employee name as a Vijay. Okay. Age it has 24, salary as a 60,000, location as Chennai. Okay. And third record that I want here for Sumit, employee ID, which is 3, employee name it has a Sumit. Okay. Age as a 27 and salary as a 70,000, and the name of a location as a Pune. So I need to mention that into the codes, right? Okay. So after that, I need to complete this one and I need to execute this. Okay. Once I execute this, this kind of table that we have, now we need to retrieve the data. Select all from my table name, which is employee. I'm having this one. So I'm just trying to retrieve the data from my table, which is employee. After that, I'm just executing. As of now, we can see I'm having this thing. I'm having a records. Now, I want to drop one feature here, one column, one records here. I want to drop this one, Sumit. I want to drop a record of Sumit over here. To how to drop that? How to drop that? So let's check that. So here in this case, what we need to use a query with the help of delete. So we are having a delete function. So here I'm using a delete function from my table name. My table name is employee. So from my table name, which is employee, I want to remove one record where first name, employee name as a Sumit. So I mentioned delete from employee, where you can consider this one. You can consider employee ID or employee name. It's all up to you. So as of now, I'm just going to consider employee name because I want to remove the record for a Sumit. So employee name, okay, where employee name it as a Sumit, name it as Sumit. So the thing is, if I just write this, no, it threw an error to me. Because as of now, I'm in the safe mode. So we need to disable the safe mode. How to disable that? We need to write one query over here, which is set SQL underscore safe underscore updates. Safe underscore updates over here as a 0. Once you use this query, basically this query, which will help us to disable the safe mode, because we are trying to drop a record, we are trying to delete a record from the table, right? So we are in the safe mode. We just need to disable the safe mode. To disable the safe mode, we need to use this query over here. So we just need to use this query. So once I execute this one, and if I want to delete the record for employee name it as Sumit, at that time it will drop that record from the table. And now if I just retrieve the data from this table, at that time we are having only two records for Ajay and Vijay. We are not having data pertaining to Sumit. Okay, let me execute this one. Once I execute that, you can see We are having only 2 records as of now. We are having only 2 records as of now. Okay, fine. So can you please repeat why set option is used? Okay, fine. Because earlier, let me tell you one thing. So I am just enabling the safe mode as of now. Okay. I just enable the safe mode as of now here. And now if as of now, okay, we are having a data over here. Employee ID, employee name, age, salary, and location. What if I just want to drop a data for employee ID as a 2? Because whenever you try to drop a data or delete a data from the table, by default in SQL, safe mode is disabled. Sorry, safe mode is there, no? So someone by mistake trying to delete a record, at that time it throw an error. So to avoid such scenario, to delete the relevant data, we need to keep the safe mode disabled. Okay. So the thing is, whenever you try to drop it, no, just disable the safe mode. To make the data safe mode disable, we need to use that particular query. So let's assume that as of now, I'm having records like this only. Ajay, Vijay, and now I want to drop a record for a Vijay. As of now, we are in a safe mode. Suppose if I write a query which is delete from employee, where emp underscore name as a Vijay, if I execute that, it throw an error. It says that you are in a safe mode. To make this safe mode disable, we need this query, which is set SQL underscore safe underscore update, and we need to mention here as a 0, so that it will disable the safe mode. Once you disable the safe mode, and if you want to drop or if you want to delete the data from this employee table records related to the Vijay, then we need to execute this line only. And now once I execute that, we just delete the record for the Vijay now. And if you retrieve the data, okay, if you retrieve the data from this table, at that time you can see we are having only one record pertaining to Ajay. That's why whenever you're using a MySQL, right, by default there is a safe mode. We need to disable the safe mode. For that purpose, to disable a safe mode, we need to use this query: set SQL underscore safe underscore update is equals to 0. Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, Ishwar. Okay. So as of now, we are having this table. Now, after that, we are having multiple options over here. So I'm dropping this table. As of now. So to drop a table, we need to use drop table name. In my case, my table name, which is employees. So once I execute that, it will just drop the table from my system. And if I just retrieve the data to fetch the data from that particular table, it throw an error to us. It will say that the table doesn't exist. That is the point. So now let's take one small example here. Okay, I want a default location in my table as a Hyderabad. So I'm just going to create a table here. Basically, employee table. I'm just about to create an employee table. I want features like, employee ID, employee name, salary, and location. I want location by default, it has a Hyderabad. How to implement that? Let's see. How to implement that? Let's see. So again, we need to create a table here. So create table and the name of the table. I want a table name it as employee. After that, I need a feature name it as employee ID. I'm going to assign a data type it as an integer. And the next column that I want, which is employee name. Okay, data type it as a varchar, because name is a categorical data, string data. To consider a string data, we need to use a varchar data type. So it will accept 20 alphabets as an employee name. Then next record, next feature that I want, which is salary. And I'm going to assign a data type it as a float. Okay. And here, in this case, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a new feature, which name it as a location, data type it as a varchar. It will accept 20 elements, 20 alphabets as a location. And I'm going to assign a constraint, which is not null here. And here, along with the not null, I'm going to use a function or a constraint here, which is default. And here, along with that default function, I want a location it as a Hyderabad. Okay. And now I'm going to close this table. I'm going to close this table. Okay. Once I execute this, we are having a table. And now I want to see the structure. DSC table name, which has an employee. Once I execute that, you can see here, there is one option over here. Default option, it has a Hyderabad over here. Hyderabad over here. So now we are going to insert some records into this particular table. So we already know that how to insert the data into it. So insert into table name, which is employee. Okay. The first thing, like in this case, I'm going to mention the names of the features over here, employee ID, employee name, salary, and location. Okay. I don't want a location as of now. I want a default location as Hyderabad. If you not mention that, doesn't matter. Okay. So I am just using this these three features. And because I use a default constraint for location as Hyderabad. So there is no need to mention a location over here in this case. So now the thing is here, in this case, I need some values into it. So for a values purpose, I'm going to mention a first employee ID as a 1. So I want a record like this, employee ID as 1, employee name as Vijay, salary it as 50,000, location Hyderabad. I'm not mentioning a location over here, right? So as of me, second one, which has Ajay, salary is a 60,000. By default, location I want as a Hyderabad. So I'm not going to mention the location as Hyderabad here, but by default we can see that in the table. So employee ID as a 1, name it as a Vijay, and salary, let's take a salary it as a 50,000. Okay, that's it. These 3 elements that I want as of now. Along with that, I want a second record it as employee ID for Ajay, which is 2, and employee name, which is nothing but Ajay over here. Okay. Salary it as a 60,000. And I'm just closing this one. I'm just about to execute this. Once I execute this, and if I want to retrieve the data from employee table, I need to mention select all, select star from a table name, which is employee. And now if I just execute this, sorry, you can see by default, we assign a location for both record for Vijay and Ajay as a Hyderabad. We just use a not null constraint along with the default, and we mentioned that default as a Hyderabad. So that is the thing. That is the thing that we must be aware. I hope this is clear to all. If you have any question, any concern pertaining to this, just let me know. Yeah, any question, any concern, guys? Sorry. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so it will rectify your doubt. So the thing is, I'm just going to add a new records into this particular table. And here, along with the location, along with the salary, I'm going to mention a location also. Okay, and now here in this case, for this particular record, okay, I'm just assigning name it as a Vijaya, salary 60,000. And let's take a location as Chennai. Okay.
Sir, without value for location.
Sorry.
Try without giving value for location, sir. Because default value.
Sorry to say, your voice is breaking.
Sir, without giving location, sir. Because there is Hyderabad default location, sir. Please check
Okay.
without giving channel.
Just allow me a minute. I'm just about to explain this. Okay, it automatically clear your doubt. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So once I execute this as of now, okay, and if I execute the same, if I retrieve the data, select all from employee, okay, it shows a location it has a Chennai. What if I not mention a location? Okay, and if I execute this, it throw an error. Okay? If you remove this Chennai, if you remove Chennai from this particular record, and if you execute that, it will work. And it shows the location it has by default location it has a Hyderabad. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, so doesn't matter if you are mentioning a location, if you want any location other than Hyderabad, just mention a location while inserting the record into the table, and automatically by default, automatically it will add. The thing is, if you want any location other than Hyderabad, just mention while inserting the record, just mention a location, and whichever the location that you want, just mention that. If you're not mentioning a location, okay, then by default, it will add a location as a Hyderabad. But if you mention a location if you forgot to mention the location, it throw an error to us. That is the point.
I can't understand anything.
Sorry? Are you saying something? Okay, fine. The thing is, here in this case, okay, yeah. So we added a record here, and we use by default we use a location as a Hyderabad. That is the point. Okay. So now, after that, we are having a multiple things over here. Let's dive into this. Okay. So now, I'm just going to drop this table. Yeah. Yes, Ananta. Bhagyashri, Yamini. Yeah. If you have any question, any concern, yeah, please.
So how can we check the default values for the table after it's created?
How to check a default value after
the table was created?
Default value. Okay, fine. So we are having an option, right? So we are having a structural thing, right? DESC and the table name. Okay. So if you use that, no. So here we are having a default, right? We are having a default option here. You can see that. Okay. So if there is any default function which is present, just mute yourself. Sai, Raju, Sai. Yeah.
Sir, we are using a not null. Why coming, sir? Chennai. We are using not null. Sir.
Okay.
Coming a Chennai name is in there, sir.
Come,
Executing
okay. Chennai, but
location.
I added a Chennai, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not able to understand your question. Could you please repeat your question?
Sir, we sir, we using a not null
Yeah,
in
that's
their
correct.
in their why coming location Chennai, sir?
Okay, the thing is, not null. Not null means what? If you are not mentioning a location, okay. Here in case of Chennai, no, I inserted a record, right? Where I exclusively mention a location and Chennai. Okay. So the thing is, by default, a location value which is Hyderabad, but I exclusively mention a location it as a Chennai. While creating a table, we mention a not null constraint. Not null constraint means what? Not null, which means whenever you are not adding any records into the table, at that time it throw an error. But here in this case, we along with a not null constraint, if you observe, while creating the table, I mention along with the not null constraint that I use, which is default as a Hyderabad. If you not mention anything by default, it will identify a location it as a Hyderabad. But if you are using a location and if you're adding any location, then based on your understanding, based on your name of the location, it will add the record. It will add the record into the table. So let me take one small example as of now. So if I add the new records into this table, let's take that. Okay. So Suman. So thing is here in this case, I mention a location. Okay, I mention a location. It has a Chennai. Okay. If I execute that and if I just want to see the data, if I just want to retrieve the data from the table, you can see we are having a new record for Suman. Location it as a Chennai. But what if not mention a location? By default, it will consider the location it as a Hyderabad because we use a default constraint as a Hyderabad. So if I execute this one, and if you retrieve the data, okay, you can see if you not mention the city name, if you not mention the location name, by default, it will consider the location it as a Hyderabad. That is the meaning. Because we use a default constraint while creating the table. By default, it will consider the location it as a Hyderabad. If you mention that, it will accept the value. If you not mention the location, it will consider the location it as Hyderabad. If you not mention, yeah. If you mention a location, okay. If you mention a location here, and if you not mention a location in while inserting the values into the table, at that time, it throw an error. It say the column count does not match. Okay, column does not match value count of a row one. That is the thing. Okay. Yeah.
So excuse
What
me,
if
sir.
we, yeah, sorry.
Sir, is it necessary to use not null constraint every time we use default constraint?
We can try it. Okay, we need to try that. We can use without also. That is fine. Okay, we need to try that with the different approaches. Let me drop that one. Let me drop that table first, and it will automatically clear your doubt. Just allow me a minute. Okay. Yeah, just allow me a minute. I'll help you to understand this concept. Not really, Monica. I'm not so sure about it, Jyoti. Yeah. So I'm just going to drop this table as of now. Drop table, which is employee. I'm just dropping this table. And now I'm going to use the same one. I'm just going to use the same one without not null constraint. Let's check that. Okay, let's check that. So the thing is, I'm just going to execute this line. Once I execute that, if I see the structure of the table, then it will accept null values. Now I'm just going to insert a record in this particular table, which is employee. Okay. So I just added 2 records. If I retrieve the data from the table, as of now, we are having Ajay Vijay. By default location, it has a Hyderabad. Now, in this case, I'm just going to mention a location. Exclusively, I'm going to mention a location over here. Okay. Location, it has a Chennai. Okay. So once I execute this, after execution, if I just want to see the data, you can see we are having a location, it has Chennai. Okay. Now, in this case, in this particular line number 139, I'm inserting a record into employees where I mention employee ID, employee name, salary, values 3, Vijaya, and 60,000. Here, I not mention a location, not mention anything. Okay. I just use this 3 names of the columns, right? Employee name, employee ID, and salary. So now, if I just execute this, at that time, it also work. Okay. It will also work. That is the thing. And now, after inserting this, we just retrieve the data. And here, in this case, if I forgot to mention a location, and here I'm just removing this like a Chennai for now, as of now. Okay. Okay. And if I execute that, at that time, it will work well. So we can use a not null constraint. We can use without not null constraint also. Default constraint we can use with not null, without not null. Okay, we can use in the both cases. So yes, answer of your question is yes. Okay, I hope this is clear now.
Yes.
Okay, okay, Bhunesh. So let's drop this table as of now. So I'm just dropping this table. Dropping table name it as employee in my case. So I'm just dropping this one. Okay, I just drop a table. Now I'm just going to create a new table. Let's the same one with some sort of different changes into it. So I'm just going to create a table here. Create employee. Sorry, I'm just creating a table, name it as employee over here. Okay, and in this I want first element it as employee ID, integer. The data type that I'm going to assign it as integer, and along with the integer, I'm going to use a primary key over here so that it will not accept a null values, not accept a duplicate values. Okay. So now the second element that I want, second column that I want, which is name and name, which is a categorical data. So for the categorical data, string data, we are going to use a data type. It has a varchar 50 varchar. Let's take it 20. Okay, let's take a 20 as of now. And the next record, next column that I want, which is a department. Let's take a department here. Feature name it as a department. Varchar. Let's take a type it as 30. Let's take it will accept 30 elements as a department. Then I'm just going to take a salary as a new feature, and data type, let's take a float over here. And I'm just closing this table as of now. I'm just closing this table as of now. After closing this table, okay, so I'm just going to insert some records into it. So we know that insert into employees, I'm directly adding a values into it. Okay, so let's add a value here. Employee ID as 1, name of a person, let's take a Ajay, and department as a HR. Okay, salary, let's take a salary, it has a 50,000. Second record, employee ID it has a 2, name it as Vijay. Okay, and department as, let's take it as a department as a IT over here. And I'm just closing this as of now. After closing this, yeah. So I think, yeah, I forgot to mention a salary. That's why it's giving me the error. So I'm just going to mention a salary. It has a 60,000, 60,000. So I inserted a record here. Now it's working, right? So I inserted a record, then we need to retrieve the data. So to verify that, whether we inserted the data which actually exists in the table or not. So I'm just going to use select all from employee over here. Select all from employee. Yeah. Sorry, are you saying something? Oh. So I just retrieve the data over here. So now the thing is, what if I want to add a new column over here? So as of now, if you observe, please, Lilavati, just mute yourself. As of now, I'm having feature name named as employee ID, name, department, and salary. What if I want another feature? Let's take email. Then how we are going to add that? So we already have this table. We already have this table, and we want a new record, new features over here as an email. Then how we are going to add that? Let's check. Let's see. So in this case, what we need to do, we need to use a alter query, alter command. So I'm just going to mention alter table. Yeah. You can use that. Okay. So as of now, I'm just altering a table because I want a new column in my table. So I'm just using alter table. My table name is nothing but employee. So I just mention a name it as employee. After mentioning a name of the table as an employee, I need to use a function which is add. I'm going to mention, sorry, I'm going to mention the name of the column it as email and data type it as a varchar 20. Varchar 20. So now once I execute this one, and now if I just want to retrieve the data from my table, you can see as of now we are having a new feature which is nothing but email. We added one feature over here, name it as an employee. We added a new feature in this table, okay. Then we need to drop that. Then there are multiple ways. If you assume that if you're having an email, then if you want to add new elements, so as of now, I'm not having a feature name it has an age, right? So let's add a age into it. So I'm going to add a new feature into this particular table. So I'm going to add a feature it has an age over here, and I'm going to mention the data type as an integer. So once I execute that, it will create a new feature for us, which is nothing but employees. Sorry, my bad, age. You can see as of now we are having an age over here. Okay, that is the thing. Okay. So answer of your question is yes, we can add multiple elements into it. Okay. So now, as of now, I'm having a data, right? As of now, I'm having a data over here. Okay. What if I want to modify my column, existing column? We are having this columns, right? What if I want to add modify my department column from varchar 30 to varchar 50? How to modify that? So we are having a varchar 30 here. Instead of varchar 30, I want varchar 50. So how to implement that? So let's see. In this case, what I'm going to do here, So in this case, I'm going to use a alter query, alter table, a table of my table name, which is employee. Then we need to use a function which is modify. Once you apply modify, and I want to modify my department varchar 30 to varchar 50, right? So I need to mention department over here. I'm just going to mention modify. We are trying to modify the department over here. And after mentioning the name of the feature, then we need to use a varchar, which is the data type 50. And once I execute that, we just modify our existing table, which will accept now 50 elements as a department, 50 elements as the department. I hope this is clear to all. If you have any question, any concern pertaining to this, just let me know. Then we need to update the data. Okay, I'll explain that. Just allow me a minute. So I'm just about to finish this alter table. Okay, once I complete that, and I'll tell you how to add the records into the table then. Okay, just allow me a minute. Okay, Ishwar? Yeah. Okay, Gopi. Okay, Sukanya? Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, Ishwar. Just allow me a 5 or 10 minutes. I'll explain that how to add a records into it. So, yeah. So as of now, we modify the table. So we modify the data type as of now. Then what if? So if you want, we are having this table, right? We are having this table. We are having this table and table name in our case, which is employees, right? Our table name is employees. So what if we want to rename this name of a table from employee to something else? Okay, employee to something else. So how to do that? So to change a name of a table, what we can do? Okay, again, we need to use alter table, and the table name, which is employee, alter table employee. We need to use a function which is change here, change employee name, sorry, change employee to employee table. Okay, so the thing is, yeah, we are trying to change it, right? Alter table employee, change employee to employee name, employee table. Varchar 20. If I just execute this one, yeah, it threw an error to us. So the thing is, just allow me a second. Yeah, just allow me a quick second. So I just mentioned the wrong things here. So just allow me a quick second. Let me change this one. So in this case, I need to use a rename table. Sorry, I was talking about renaming a table name, right? So rename table, old table name, which was employee, to new as a employee table. Okay, once I execute that, and if you retrieve the data as a select all from employee, if you're using this line, at that time, it throw an error to us. It throw an error to us. It says that the table that you are trying to use, which is not exist, okay, which is not exist. That is the point. That is the point that we must aware of it. Okay. Then after that, what we have to do, instead of this employee, we need to mention the table name it as EMP underscore tables. So EMP underscore table. Once you execute that, and then it will provide you the data. It will provide you the data. That is the point that we need to understand. I hope this rename is clear to everyone. So what I did here, I just rename a table, use a rename function, rename table employees to employee table. So that as of now, we are having a table name it as employee underscore table. Then as of now, I'm having this age column here, right? I just want to drop that. I want to drop that. How to drop it? Let's see how to drop this age feature here from a table. Then we need to use a query. We need to use a query, which is that. So we need to use an alter table, which is emp underscore table. As of now, we just change the name. Okay, alter table. We need to mention that the updated name, which is emp table. Then we need to mention a function called drop column. Drop column and the name of the column, which is age. Once I execute this line, it will drop the feature, which is nothing but age. And after that, if I just want to retrieve the data from the table, you can see as of now, we are having this table without age feature into it. Without age feature into it. I hope this is a little bit clear to all. Yeah, any question, any concern pertaining to this?
So just to explain all those briefly once again.
Sorry, actually, I'm not able to hear you properly. Can you speak a little bit louder?
So can you re-explain all those once in a brief manner, sir? Once.
Can I? Sorry, come again.
Sir, explain those all in once in a brief manner, sir. Like
all in one. Like whichever thing that we discussed till now, right? You are saying that?
Yes, sir. Which you are saying you are right now is 72, 82, 182.
Achha, you want me to explain this line, right?
Yes. Yes.
Which one?
72, 182, sir. Once you explain all these ones.
Yeah, sure. The thing is, earlier from 172, what I did here, I alter the table. Okay, I alter the table. I modify the department. Department column where I change a data type from varchar 30 to varchar 50. Earlier, there were varchar which will accept only the 20 elements or 30, I guess. Yes. So I just changed that from 30 to 50 so that it will accept 50 alphabets as a department. 50 alphabets as a department. Then after that, I use next line. So basically this particular line, we are trying to alter a table, which is nothing but employee. And we added a new features into it as a age and data type, which is nothing but integer. This is my data type. I created a table. So I added a one new feature into it as a age over there and data type as an integer. Then after that, I rename my existing table from employee to employee emp underscore table. I rename my existing table from employee to employee underscore table. And then after that, I retrieve the data. And then here, I just drop the table. I just drop a age feature from a table, which is nothing but emp underscore table. The thing is, after renaming the table, my table name is emp underscore table. And from that, we drop a feature, which is nothing but age. And as of now, we are having a table without age over here. So if I just retrieve that, you can see I'm having this one. I'm having this one. Okay. So this is the thing. Okay. I hope this is a little bit clear to you.
Sir, why a null column, null row has been created, sir? I mean, when we showing
This one, no, like the last one.
Yes, sir. Yes.
It's always it will always be appear over there, right? So whenever you create a table in SQL, automatically it shows the null over there. So don't bother too much about it. Okay, it shows for each and every time. Okay, if you added 10,000 records also, no, at the end of the 10,001, okay, it gives the null values over there. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, delete only one value, sir.
Sorry.
Any future.
What do you want me to do?
Delete only one value at any future.
One value of any feature or one record from the table. What do you want me to do?
Ajay name.
So you want me to delete Ajay, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Just allow me a minute.
Sir, if you remove only Ajay, if the whole column will be deleted, no, sir?
No. If I delete Ajay, it will just delete
only the name will be deleted, sir.
This one.
Yeah, I'm asking that only, sir. If you remove only the name of the column, the whole salary in the email, that.
Yeah. For Ajay, everything will be deleted over there. Okay.
No, sir. Only name will delete.
No. The thing is, if you are using a delete query, no, just mute yourself once. Whenever you use a delete query, we need to use a where clause, where we need to mention exclusively from which location, which part that you want to delete. So whenever you use a where as a Ajay, it will delete entire record of Ajay, not a single name. Okay, not a single name. Okay. We can update that. If you want me to update it, we can update that. That is possible. So let me tell you one thing. Instead of Ajay, I want Sujay. Let's update this as a Sujay. So how to update that? Let's see. So as of now, we need to use a query, which is update, and my table name, which is emp_table. Okay. I need to use a set function here, where name is equals to Sujay. And I need to use where department as a HR. Department as a HR. Okay, what I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to update this Ajay name as a Sujay, where department as a HR. So we are having a department, right? As a HR. I'm just updating a name from Ajay to Sujay. So the thing is, once I execute this one, okay, and if you retrieve the data from the table, okay, you can see we just changed the name of Ajay to Sujay. Okay. I hope this is clear now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. If you want to delete it, no, we can also perform the same. So if you want me to drop something or any particular record, I'll drop that. I'll delete that for you.
Sir, instead of update, rename.
Sorry?
So instead of update, we can use rename, sir.
Instead of
update, sir, we can use rename, sir.
No, not really. So a rename, earlier we use a rename function to rename the table name. So whenever you just want to update the existing table, then we need to use the update function in that case. Okay. So because already we are having this table, right? The first employee that we have, right? First employee ID. Okay. So whenever you just want to change something, if you want to change from department as a HR to something else, let's take a support. We can perform that also. Like, so the thing is, in that case, what you need to do? So you need to mention a query like update update table name, which is emp underscore table in my case, we need to use set department. Okay, set department as a support where name is Sujay. Okay. Update. We are just updating this department from HR to support. And if you retrieve the data from the table, okay, we can see that we change the department from HR to support now. I hope this is a little bit clear to you all. Okay. Yeah, any question, any concern pertaining to this, just let me know.
Sir,
Yes, please, Nivedita.
sir, how to select the salary from Vijay, sir?
Sorry, come again. How to?
How to select salary from Vijay?
So you want me to select salary from Vijay?
Yes.
Like only this part or some only salary, right? You want me to fetch salary, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So in that case, what we need to use? Select salary from table name, which is emp underscore table. Okay. If I just execute that, it fetches a salary only. Okay. It only gives us a salary.
Ante select salary from particular person, sir.
You want me to select a salary from particular person?
Person, yes, sir.
Yeah. So the thing is, we need to use a group by in that case, but that is the part of the next session. So you have to wait for a while. So as of now, so whichever the thing that we discussed till now, just try to practice it a little bit. So in the tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, I'll cover that section for you guys.
Sir, can we use where
Sorry?
with name, sir? Can we use where, sir? Where Ajay name is Ajay?
Okay. No, not really. Okay. So whenever you retrieve the data, no. So if you observe, we are having a two departments over here, right? Support and IT. We need to group by. Once you group by a department as support and IT, then you segregate the data for a salary. Okay. So that is the part of next session, by the way.
Sir?
Yes, please.
So will you explain the setup of this MySQL workbench?
Yeah, I'll explain that, no worries. But the thing is, we are having a time bound here, right? So, okay, yeah. Sorry.
Sir, in modification, if we keep alter table and table name modify, we can only modify the column data type and its size, sir.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
If you are trying to modify, even though you can change the structure in the sense like the data type, basically.
Okay, only data type, and for size, the modification works.
Yeah.
Okay,
you can
sir,
say that.
you. Okay, sir.
Sir?
Sir,
Yes,
how
please.
you take the
For
attendance?
this update query, why we
Yes.
choose the choose in another column, sir?
Okay.
Here, update employee table set name equal to Sujay, no? Where the department equal to HR. Why we set that name equal to Sujay?
Okay. The thing is, in this case, earlier department was HR.
Okay.
Right. So I want to change this from support to HR. Sorry, earlier it was HR. So I want from HR to support that, right? Okay. So the thing is, to update that department from HR to support, I use a set department as a support. Okay, that is the first part. Why Sujay? Because whenever we just want to update a table, we need to use a query. So the thing is, we need to use a condition. Means if you assign a, this is the condition that we are applying on this table. Means
if I
change a
enter
department.
name equal to Vijay, it will updated this, no sir?
Yeah, it's only update a department from HR to support for Sujay only, because we exclusively mention name as a Sujay, right? So because we exclusively mention here, so change or update a department from HR to support only where only name of the employee as a Sujay. There only. It's not reflecting. It's not updating for the rest of the elements. Only changing for this one. Okay.
If I entered update employee table set name equal to Sujay, where name equal to something Vijay, no sir? What will happen, sir?
So please, could you please repeat your question once?
If I enter employee table set name equal to Sujay.
Okay, set name as a Sujay.
Where name equal to Vijay.
Yes, that is possible. Do you want me to perform that?
Sir? Okay.
Okay, I'll perform that then. You want me to change set a name as a Sujay and plus of Vijay, right? So I'll update that. Yeah, okay, fine. So how to implement that? So we need to use a query, which
Why
is
we
like,
choose only department? Why we choose another fields like name, email,
you can use anything of your choice. It's your call, right? So as of now, you want me to set a Vijay to Ajay, so I'm just going to use that. So let's observe here carefully. So I'm just going to update my existing table, which is EMP underscore table, where I'm setting a first name. I'm setting a name as a Ajay here. Okay. Instead of Vijay, I want to name it as Ajay. Then after we need to apply a condition where I'm just checking, instead of this name, we can use any other things, right? You can use salary also, where salary is equal to 60,000, or where you can use employee ID as a one also, that is fine. So in this case, I'm using employee ID as a one. Okay, as a one. So I need to mention equal to Sahib. So once I execute that, and if you just retrieve the data from your table, okay, you can see it's changed from what was the earlier name? Sorry, I think I not execute. Okay, fine. Sorry.
Employee ID, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot that. Yeah. So, okay. Still employee ID. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. Employee ID is supposed to be 2 over there, right? Yeah. You can see now it's Ajay, by the way. Yeah, you can see that.
Sir,
you can use multiple experiments, multiple conditions. Okay. Yeah. Yes, please.
Sir, the second Ajay, sir, if I need the Ajay person, that I need only the Ajay's salary, I can write this query, no, sir. Select salary from employees
where department as a IT. Yes.
Where name is equals to Vijay or Ajay, sir. Ajay.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So I'll run that query for you guys. Okay, don't worry, don't think about tomorrow. I'll execute that as of now. So yeah, so I'm just using select name. Okay, I'm just selecting the name here and salary from our table name, which is EMP underscore table. Okay, so basically I'm trying to see a name and salary from my table, which is EMP underscore table, where name or where department as a IT. Okay. If I execute that, you can see it shows the salary for us for department IT pertaining to Azure. Yeah. Yes, Vaishnavi? Are you saying something? Yeah.
Nothing.
Yes. Nothing. Okay, fine. Just mute yourself then. Yeah. Yes, Bhagyashree Amini. If you have any question, any concern, just ask me.
Sir, is there any specific reason that we are using the name column the way the class instead of using unique identities like employee ID?
Okay, you can use employee ID also. So if you want employee ID, then just mention that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, if you want anything, right? If whichever the features that you want to include in the retrievable query, just mention that. So if I execute this, you can see the employee ID also. It's all up to you, right? Which kind of data that you want to see, just mention that into the select query, and you can see that. So yes, okay. Yeah. If you have any question, any concern, don't hesitate to ask me. I'm open for questions. Yeah. So if someone is there who wants me to show me the update, like not update, like setup part, just ask. Yeah, just allow me a minute.
Sir.
Yes, Sai.
Sir, delete all values and only show the structure of the table, sir.
Delete
all values.
Delete all values. Okay.
And show the only structure of the table, that is possible.
Acha, do you want me to see the structure of the table, right? So then just use a truncate, no?
Yes.
Truncate and table name, which is emp underscore table. See, you can see the structure of the table. That's it. Okay.
Sir, why using department only? You can use employee ID also, sir.
Yes, you can. We can use anything. So if you want to use what we can say, employee ID, employee name, anything, just mention that over there. Okay. So we need to use a condition which justify the query. So we need to mention.
We can use also salary also, sir.
Yes, you can. We can use a salary also over there. Okay.
Sir, execute this.
Sorry.
Show me, sir, once.
Actually, I just truncate the table. No, it vanish my entire data. So I need to add some data into it. Okay, let me just allow me a quick second.
So why don't you use rollback then?
So the thing is, I already perform a truncated here. How am I supposed to use a rollback here?
So you're not committed, sir.
Sorry?
You are not committed now.
That's why, no. Like whenever you perform the steps, we need to perform something, right? We need to commit something. We need to mention the save points. We need to use those things. Then and then only we can perform the same, right? But as of now, I just
Small doubt, sir.
Yes, please.
We can update multiple records at a time, sir.
It's not the best practice. We can, but we need to follow the best practice. Okay.
Okay.
So the best practice says that update one record at a time. Like the thing, if you are handling your company's data, and if you mention Ajay in place of Ajay, you mention Vijay place Ajay, so it will create a chaotic problem for you. So instead of that, whenever you perform update, delete, such kind of queries, use one record at a time. It's a best practice.
Okay, thank you, sir. My doubt is clear.
Oh, okay, Divakar. Yes, acha. Okay, that was question. Okay, fine. I missed few questions from your end because I'm having a lot of questions in my chat section. So sorry for that. Okay. Yes, Sheikh Lal Sharif.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, will you send the video drive in the WhatsApp group?
Sorry.
Sir, will you send the video drive in the WhatsApp group?
Not really. This is the task of my entire team, so I'm not so sure about it.
Okay, sir. So whatever the PDF.
So I'll talk with my team with the same. They'll
Okay,
try
sir.
to provide you. I'm not so sure. I just need to talk with my team.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, any attendance form?
So if you join this session, no, we already tracking you. So how like the duration when you join, when you left the meeting, everything is updated in this link. So don't worry about it.
The setup part.
Do you
Sir,
want me
I
to?
Sir, I have one doubt, sir. If where clause is an update in the statement, will it update in the rows in the table?
Sorry, come again.
If where clause is an update in the statement, will it update in the rows in the rows in the table?
Update. Let me understand your question first. You want me to update what?
Update the where clause.
You want me? Update a where clause, okay?
Where clause statement, will it update in the rows in a table?
Yes, because the thing is, whenever you update something, no. So we are doing this on a row level, right?
Okay.
So whenever you are updating something, we are doing that on a row level. So yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not so sure about it, Rahul. So whichever the question, whichever the query that you have, that is going to solve by my team. Okay, I'm not the right person to answer this question for certification. Okay.
Sir,
Yes, Manoj.
can we rename the columns, sir? I mean, instead of just renaming the whole table, some certain columns. Can we rename this?
Yes, we already discussed that here. Let me tell you one thing. So where is that? So we can do anything. Okay, in this case we can do anything.
I'm asking not a value in column, sir. I'm just asking column name. I mean feature name. Like you have a name now, sir. Can we rename the name column to employee name like that?
Yes, we can change that. Okay.
And the rename is the same query, sir, for that too.
Not really. In that case, you need to use alter table.
Okay.
Okay, I'll write for you. So as of now, I'm not having any data with my thing here, my system as of now, but I'll write query for you. Just write this somewhere. So alter table, and your table name supposed to be after that. Okay, alter table name, and you need to use a function called change, and your old column name. Okay, old column name to new column name. Okay, and along with that, don't forget to mention a data type. Okay, so if you write this query, no, it will help you to change your name of your existing current column name to new one. So as of now, I'm not having the table right now, so that's why if you use this query, no, this kind of pattern, this kind of syntax, it will help you to change the old column to new column based on the data type. Yeah. Okay.
So do it automatically changes the data type, sir? I mean, if we mention
No. You need to mention the data types over there. Okay. So the thing is, you need to write a query like alter table and the table name, whichever the table name that you want to change, your existing table name, right? This is supposed to be your existing table name, and you are changing column, old column, whichever the column, let's consider you are having an employee name here. If you assume that you're having an old column, it has an employee name, you just want to change that to the name only. Whenever you write a name over there, don't forget to mention a varchar with some sort of numbers 20, 30, 50. It will help you to change the existing current column name to the updated one. Okay.
Yes, I mean, do the old column name and the updated column name should have same data type, sir. That's what I want.
No. You can change it. You can change the data type. Doesn't matter the previous data type. If that data type is integer and if you are willing to change to varchar, that is also possible.
Okay. Sir.
Okay.
Thank you. So when we change the data type, the existing data is already. So in case if we change the data type, as you have mentioned from integer to varchar or varchar to integer, what will happen to the existing data set?
Data set means what?
When we change the data type, like here, then
the thing is, the first thing that you need to understand here, we are having the same table. We are changing our existing column name to the new column name. Doesn't matter whichever the data type that you had earlier, you are going to change that to the new one. Okay.
I mean,
and if any value which was present earlier over there, for that the data type is going to change.
I mean, we can't change the character data type to integer, no, sir. That's what I was.
No. The thing is, you can do that, but there are different approaches over there. Okay. Yes, you're saying whichever thing that you're saying, which is absolutely correct. Integer, we cannot change integer to the varchar. That is absolutely correct. I'm not denying that. Okay. So suppose if you're having integer data, like age as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, you cannot change. You can change that. Even you can change that, but this is not a best practice, right? We can change that. That is possible. Okay. But we need to follow the best practice.
We can't change varchar to integer, no, sir.
No. We can. The thing is, we can change it, but the best practice that we need to follow. No.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, can you show the example of the rename the column name?
You want me to change the column name? Okay, fine. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's take here. So as of now, the thing is, I'm not having the entire data as of now. Let me see whether I'm having a table or not. Okay. So as of now, I'm having a table, employee ID, name, department, salary, and email. Which column that you want me to change?
Department name.
Department, okay. To something else, right? What is your choice? Yes. Like, okay, I'm okay with the change the name of department to something else, but to what? Department to what? Name, first name, last name, class, something like that.
DPT underscore name, sir.
Sorry, come again.
Department underscore name.
Like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's do that. So alter, I need to use alter table, my existing table name, which is emp underscore table. Okay. I'm just altering my existing table, which is employee table. And then I'm changing my old column name, which is department over here, to new, which is DEPT underscore name. Data type is as varchar. Okay. And now if you just retrieve the data, select all from emp underscore table, you can see the change name is changed now from department to department name. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, whichever the query that you have as of now, we'll try to rectify that in the next session. Okay. Yeah, so it's almost 9. So we'll wind up for a day. Whichever the query that you have, we'll cover that into the next session. So yeah. Okay. So I'm just noting down your questions, your queries as of now. We'll discuss those query into the next session. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for your time. Yeah, that's it from my end. See you tomorrow. Yeah, okay, sure. Same time, 6:30 to 8:30. Session time is will be 6:30 to 8:30. Yeah, thank you guys. Good night. Take care.